Welcome to Sphere Finance. I am Price Time and you're watching Sphere TV. When it comes to portfolio management, a key element to understand is diversification. Diversification is a way to balance the risk and anticipated returns of a portfolio by mixing a wide variety of different holdings within the same portfolio. The rationale of diversification comes from two distinct observations. Number one, a diversified portfolio lowers your unique portfolio risk. And number two, diversification will, on average, yield higher long-term returns versus any individual holding. Let's break down each observation to give you a better visual understanding of the power of diversification. Number one, a diversified portfolio lowers your unique portfolio risk. All financial holdings carry some degree of risk. Some risks are obvious, such as the risks in the stock market, where almost everyone understands that the price of a particular holding can go up, down, or sideways. Other risks are more insidious in nature, such as the risk of inflation on the value of the US dollar, causing a decrease in its purchasing power over time. This can easily lead to a false and misguided sense of security when people avoid other financial holdings besides US dollar for fear of market volatility, when in reality, holding a large quantity of US dollars often leads to immense opportunity cost and personal wealth depreciation. Regardless and understandably, the stock market still generates a fear of financial loss. Each stock, even the biggest and best of companies, always has the potential to perform less than desired or worse, go under completely. An example is Enron, whose stock rose to $90 per share at its peak in August of 2000 before crumbling to zero as people became aware of the company's fraudulent activities. Ultimately, this highlights the reality that by limiting yourself to individual holdings, you increase your unique portfolio risk because, in the event that those select few holdings do not perform as you had hoped, then there is nothing left to keep your portfolio afloat. On the other hand, you can significantly reduce your total portfolio risk by increasing the number of holdings within your portfolio. That way, if one or even several of your holdings fail to perform, your overall portfolio will not be sunk. The more you hold, the less unique risk you have, until eventually you are left with what is known as market risk. The market risk is an economy-wide or systemic risk that is unavoidable with all volatile holdings and cannot be further diversified away. Still, the point remains that the more you diversify, the more you approach the lowest possible risk in your portfolio, which is that underlying economic, systemic, or market risk. Number two, diversification will, on average, yield higher long-term returns versus any individual holding. This observation is likely met with the most initial disagreement. There is a tendency to believe that people become rich in the markets by selecting individual holdings that perform exceptionally well. And while this does undeniably happen on occasion, we cannot ignore the other side of the coin, which is that selecting individual holdings can result in significantly less than desired performances. In fact, less than desired performances are unfortunately the most likely outcome. The reason for this is actually quite simple. There are many factors that determine a specific holding's performance: supply and demand, company health, economic reports, and trader sentiment, to name a few. Now, if you were to plot the performance of each individual company over time, where the y-axis is the number of companies and the x-axis is how well they performed over time, you would actually get what is known as a positively skewed bell curve distribution. This is significant and remarkably explains why the average returns of the market outperform the vast majority of people who try to individually pick holdings. With a positively skewed bell curve distribution, the mode is defined as where the greatest number of holdings perform, and you'll notice that this is actually significantly less than the mean or average. This tells us that when you effectively randomly select an individual holding, you are at a statistical disadvantage and will most likely select a holding that performs less than the mean simply because the majority of holdings will perform less than the mean. It is the select few holdings that outperform all others that are nearly impossible to accurately predict, especially over the long term, that pull the average returns higher than where most holdings will perform. So these two reasons are exactly why the market average performs better than almost everything else, especially over the long term. Diversification not only reduces your unique portfolio risk, but it also provides you with the highest long-term returns on average. When it comes to the stock market, nothing is better well known than the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is a benchmark of market performance because it checks both diversification boxes. By tracking hundreds of companies, the S&P 500 achieves risk reduction and higher on-average returns compared to individual stock picking. Now, when it comes to cryptocurrency, we can reason that these rules of diversification still apply because crypto also operates within a freely traded market. It makes sense then that multiple holdings will reduce your overall portfolio risk to that of the market, aka systemic risk. And it also makes sense that by diversifying, you are more likely to achieve the average return, which will likely turn out to be greater than where the majority of cryptocurrencies will perform. Up until this point, there has been a problem with crypto, and especially with decentralized finance or DeFi, such that the only way to diversify has been to manually buy or swap for a multitude of different cryptocurrencies in order to hold a diversified portfolio. But Sphere Finance is changing that. Sphere's vision is to be the S&P 500 of crypto. With just one token, the Sphere token, holders enjoy exposure to an expanding and diversified portfolio of cryptocurrency projects. Sphere Finance works by using its treasury to invest in valuable governance tokens across the crypto and DeFi space. In addition, Sphere is also building out and partnering with an ecosystem of the best versions of DeFi projects to further enhance the extent and quality of that diversification for Sphere holders. Not only that, but revenue from Sphere's entire ecosystem is also used to buy back and burn Sphere tokens to increase the scarcity of the Sphere token and build Sphere's liquidity over time. Imagine if the S&P 500, in addition to being the benchmark of stock market performance, also funneled revenue from all of the companies it tracked into reducing the circulating supply of S&P 500 shares. That is what Sphere Finance is building within crypto. Further, after the transition of Sphere to its V3 model, Sphere holders will be able to vote escrow their Sphere in order to earn blue chip tokens such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoins, and others. This will be possible thanks to revenue sharing from the Sphere treasury. VE Sphere holders will also be able to participate in DeFi governance and enjoy additional bribe revenue for directing that voting power. So not only will Sphere tokens be representative of a diversified and expanding treasury portfolio, but they will also be the key to passively earning a diversified basket of valuable cryptocurrencies, all the while being deflationary over time, and will be the proxy kingpin of DeFi governance capable of earning bribes for directing that expanding voting power. Hence the S&P 500 of crypto. Visit sphere.finance now to learn more. The best place to stay up to date on announcements or contact us is through the Sphere Finance Discord. Check the description below for official links, including links to references used in the making of this video. You can also leave us a comment below and we will do our best to help. After all, this video and channel is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Thanks for watching, and always remember that you matter for who you are. Regardless, and understandably, the stock market, regardless, yes, and understandably, the stock market still generates a fear of financial loss.